My cherished baby, there are quiet moments in existence that arrive without announcement, moments that seem normal till you comprehend they have been lightly guiding your heart in the direction of a truth you have been by no means intended to worry. This is one of these moments. Do not pass, because what unfolds now is not approximately losing someone. It's far approximately sooner or later seeing what has been hidden underneath the floor all alongside. You could have noticed small modifications that had been hard to provide an explanation for, little silences in which words as soon as lived, mild distance wherein warmth as soon as seemed handy. Your coronary heart sensed that something turned into transferring. Even if your thoughts searched for reasons to brush aside it, that feeling become by no means asking you to panic, it become asking you to pay attention with kindness in place of fear. Stay until the give up, due to the fact something crucial is expecting you, and it may absolutely alternate the manner you understand this chapter of your journey. What seems to be an ending is regularly best the primary web page of a deeper tale, one which can't be understood while searching best on the surface. The soul grows in quiet places, and sometimes any other person's alternatives become the replicate that well-known shows how much power has already been planted inside you. There may be a purpose your heart was led right here these days. And that motive is unfolding one gentle step at a time. Pay attention carefully. Now not every step away is a rejection. Every so often people pass due to the fact they're nonetheless seeking to recognize themselves. On occasion they mistake uncertainty for certainty, confusion for readability, or consolation for future. They consider they may be walking closer to the solution. Handiest to find out later that the solution was in no way observed in changing directions but in changing their know-how. That is why cutting-edge message can not be rushed. The selection you have been annoying about consists of more meaning than it first appears. It is not as easy as a person deciding on one direction in place of any other. There may be a hidden layer under each visible motion, and that hidden layer adjustments the whole lot. Right now, your soulmate may appear to be moving in the direction of an extraordinary destiny, and perhaps your heart has quietly questioned if someone else has taken the region you believed belonged to you. However, earlier than your thoughts begin writing painful stories, pause for a second. Ask yourself this: what if the man or woman they seem to be deciding on is not truly some other character at all? What if they're chasing an vintage model of themselves, an unfinished dream, a familiar comfort, or a lifestyles they believed might bring peace? Heart from time to time mistake unfinished lessons for lasting locations. They observe what feels familiar until they eventually apprehend what actually feels like domestic. This is why appearances may be so convincing at the same time as truth continues to be unfolding behind the scenes. There are moments while silence speaks louder than conversations, and this is one in all them. The distance you feel isn't always inviting you to lose desire. It's far inviting you to discover the difference between waiting with fear and waiting with quiet self-belief. There's no how in allowing every tale to reveal itself before figuring out the way it ends. You had been by no means requested to hold day after today earlier than it arrives. You were simplest requested to remain open sufficient to understand reality when it gently steps into the light, and something approximately this tale is still waiting to be discovered. The choice that appears final may not be the selection that defines the finishing. There may be one communication, one recognition, one sudden second that has now not yet came about, and until it does, the image stays incomplete. That unseen second is drawing nearer than you realize, and while it arrives, everything you believed you understood these days might also start to look absolutely distinct. That an abnormal sort of silence frequently seems just earlier than the whole thing starts to make experience. It is the silence where assumptions develop louder than reality, wherein the heart starts filling empty spaces with testimonies that had been never confirmed. Don't pass, due to the fact this is where the hidden layer begins to unfold. What appeared like a shocking selection is some distance more complicated than it first appeared. the direction your soulmate has been taking walks has no longer been guided simplest by emotion. It has also been shaped by way of memories they never fully understood, expectations they quietly carried, and questions they stored asking themselves when nobody else become listening. From the out of doors, it may look as even though they've chosen to go away the whole lot at the back of for a person else, but inner their very own coronary heart, the image has never been that simple. Whenever they attempted to persuade themselves that moving away would convey peace, some other quiet feeling refused to vanish, it back in unexpected moments, in regular days, in conversations that had nothing to do with you, or even inside the stillness before sleep, there has been constantly something unfinished calling their interest again. Stay till the stop, because something important is watching for you, and the following piece adjustments the meaning of the entirety you have got heard so far. Occasionally human beings consider they're taking walks toward a new beginning, whilst in reality they're best strolling in circles around a lesson they have now not but discovered. Your soulmate has been trying to apprehend what truly brings lasting peace, and that search has led them into sudden locations. They have got met extraordinary ideas, extraordinary affects, and one-of-a-kind opportunities, hoping certainly one of them could in the end quiet the questions inner their coronary heart, but each solution regarded complete for simplest a moment earlier than another quiet doubt appeared. Have you ever noticed how the loudest alternatives aren't usually the innermost ones? The coronary heart rarely speaks through noise, it speaks via what keeps returning, irrespective of how far a person tries to walk far from it. That is why this tale cannot be judged via what's visible these days. There may be some other bankruptcy already starting, one which neither you nor your soulmate completely anticipated. A communication is approaching, a tension is developing quietly under the surface. A simple second, one which nearly every person else might overlook, is preparing to show something neither of you has visible before, and when that moment arrives, the question will now not be, who did they pick? The real query becomes, did they ever actually recognize what they had been searching for inside the first vicinity? That solution has no longer been revealed, but, however, it is closer now than it has ever been. There comes a moment when even the strongest assumptions begin to lose their fact. It does not show up via a dramatic occasion or an unexpected announcement. It takes place quietly, nearly overlooked, just like the first light performing earlier than dawn. This is in which this journey is main now. Don't pass, because the following couple of moments reveal something that has been hidden behind every choice your soulmate has made. What looked like self-belief from a distance changed into frequently uncertainty sporting a calm expression. They wanted to believe that they had already observed the course they wished, but every leap forward appeared to convey another question they couldn't solution. The extra they tried to silence their mind, the greater the one's mind returned with surprising clarity. It was never virtually approximately leaving, it was never virtually approximately leaving, it changed into approximately looking to recognize why their coronary heart refused to experience settled, no matter which direction they imagined taking. There had been quiet reminders they couldn't explain, a familiar feeling performing within the center of a normal day, a memory arriving without invitation. A small detail that all of a sudden carried your presence again into their thoughts. None of those moments demanded attention, but collectively they have become impossible to ignore. Stay till the stop, because something important is waiting for you, and this hidden turning point has simply started. The person they believe they have been shifting toward regarded to offer certainty at the beginning. The entirety regarded easier, less difficult, extra predictable, but hearts are hardly ever fulfilled by means of what most effective feels relaxed. Consolation can calm the mind for a while, yet it cannot update proper connection. As time passed, your soulmates slowly started to note something that they had omitted from the start. The conversations that after felt interesting became everyday. The pleasure they anticipated to grow quietly dwindled into recurring. They commenced asking themselves a query they were keeping off all alongside. Am I following what without a doubt topics to me, or am I virtually following what feels familiar? That query modified the entirety. Now, not because it gave them a direct solution, however, as it opened a door they have been keeping closed. In the back of that door have been feelings the idea had already disappeared, emotions they believed time had quietly erased, but in preference to fading, those emotions had surely been looking forward to the proper second to be understood. On occasion the finest consciousness isn't discovering someone new. Every so often it's finally spotting the fee of what your coronary heart in no way honestly released, and whilst your soulmate has not spoken those thoughts aloud, they're turning into tougher to disregard with every passing day. The story is transferring toward a moment neither of you anticipated, a moment wherein appearances begin to fall away, in which intentions end up clearer than phrases, and in which one quiet decision will reveal what has been proper underneath the surface all along. That moment is closer than both of you realizes. And while it subsequently arrives, everything that seemed uncertain today will start to healthy together in a way that no one should have anticipated. Simply while it seems the tale has already selected its course, something unexpected begins to unfold below the surface. It does not arrive with loud words or dramatic scenes. It arrives through a quiet consciousness which could not be overlooked. Do not bypass, because this is the instant where hidden emotions start to reveal themselves one mild layer at a time. Your soulmate has started noticing something they unnoticed for a long way too lengthy. Each try to consider a future without you feels entire for handiest a quick second before an unstated emptiness quietly returns. They cannot fully provide an explanation for it. They have tried to recognition on what appears easier, what appears extra certain, what promises fewer questions. Yet the coronary heart has a manner of asking deeper questions lengthy after the mind believes it has found a solution. This has grown to be impossible for them to break out. In quiet moments, they've located themselves evaluating emotions instead of instances. They predicted excitement to update what became left behind, yet they observed that excitement fades at the same time as true connection leaves a lasting imprint. The greater they reflected, the greater they realized that what they were attempting to find changed into by no means really every other individual. They had been attempting to find peace within themselves, and that seek has slowly brought them return to reminiscences they as soon as attempted to area behind them, live until the quit, due to the fact something vital is looking ahead to you, and the following realization adjustments the whole, which means of the name. The selection that after seemed final is no longer status on strong floor. Doubt has quietly entered where certainty once lived. Questions have changed self-assurance. Rather than asking whether or not leaving became the right choice, your soulmate has began asking whether or not they clearly understood what they were walking far from in the first place. That single shift has opened a door they never predicted to revisit. They're beginning to remember the little things that cannot be recreated. The conversations that introduced surprising consolation, the quiet expertise that required no explanation, the feeling of being prevalent while not having to come to be someone distinct. Those reminiscences have now not again to create remorse. They've lowered back to bring readability. Every now and then the heart must journey a longer avenue before it acknowledges the price of what turned into already inside reach. There's nevertheless one final piece lacking, one verbal exchange but to happen, one reality that has no longer fully reached the surface. When that moment arrives, the whole thing that after gave the look of a farewell can be visible from a completely special angle. And that final revelation is drawing nearer with each passing moment, wearing a solution that neither you nor your soulmate may want to have imagined at the beginning of this adventure. The closer each hidden piece moves towards the light, the quieter the whole thing becomes. It is nearly as though lifestyles itself is growing space for one very last understanding to settle into vicinity. Don't bypass. Because what happens now isn't always the ending you could have predicted when this adventure first started, it's something far more significant. Your soulmate has reached a factor in which going for walks from uncertainty now not feels possible. The solutions they desire to find someplace else have not brought the lasting peace they imagined. Alternatively, they have lightly revealed something unexpected. The man or woman they believed they were deciding on became never the actual vacation spot. It became definitely a chapter that helped them understand what their coronary heart had been attempting to say all alongside. From time to time humans need to stroll a one-of a kind avenue earlier than they recognize why another direction continually remained quietly found in their mind. This recognition did now not arrive unexpectedly, it got here through ordinary moments. A familiar melody, a passing reminiscence, a simple conversation, a quiet nighttime whilst the whole lot subsequently slowed down. The one small moment started out connecting like pieces of a puzzle. For the primary time, they stopped asking, "Wherein must I go subsequent?" and started asking, "What has my coronary heart been trying to reveal me from the beginning?" That unmarried query modified everything. Stay till the quit, because something crucial is anticipating you, and this very last. Reality includes the coronary heart of the entire message. The title pointed out a surprising choice to go away you for someone else, but the greatest marvel turned into in no way another character. It changed into the realization that your soulmate were looking to go away in the back of their very own uncertainty, their own worry of choosing what surely mattered, and the version of themselves that believed peace ought to most effective be located someplace exclusive. As the one's vintage fears slowly diminished, readability quietly took their region. They began seeing that authentic connection cannot be measured by distance, silence, or brief choices. It is discovered with the aid of the quiet reality that maintains returning, even after every distraction has passed, that doesn't assure how each courting will spread, due to the fact all and sundry has their very own selections to make. But it does remind you of something deeply vital. Your cost has in no way relied on someone else's second of misunderstanding. Your well-worth has by no means been defined by means of some other person's uncertainty. The journey has constantly been inviting you to grow in peace, staying power, and quiet confidence, understanding that what is actual will become clearer with honesty, time, and know how. In order this chapter lightly comes to a near, allow your heart rest in preference to racing ahead. Some stories display their private that means handiest after every assumption has fallen away. And possibly this is the finest revelation of all, no longer that someone walked away for all time, however that each hearts have been quietly being guided toward a clearer know-how of themselves earlier than any lasting decision could genuinely be made. The next bankruptcy has no longer yet been written, but anything it brings, you'll meet it with greater know-how, extra peace, and a coronary heart that now is familiar with its very own quiet power. There may be a stunning fact about the coronary heart that few people recognize till lots later. It hardly ever speaks via the loudest moments. Type Amen in the comments if you believe, and subscribe for daily angel messages and blessings.